Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Our expert technicians can accurately diagnose all your car care needs. We'll fix it right and back it with our nationwide warranty at over 600 Amco centers. And if cash is tight, we have up to 12 months of no interest financing and easy payment plans, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-GO-AMCO for the location near you. That's AAMCO, transmissions, and a whole lot more.
Up to 30% of U.S. military members and veterans are battling PTSD, even those who weren't injured or in combat. If you're one of the many, you should know that you don't have to suffer. Treatment for PTSD is available. If you suffer from PTSD-related depression and anxiety, you're not alone. There are so many veterans and current enlisted just like you. You don't have to suffer. Find the help and resources you need and deserve at connectingvets.com.
Hey, it's Sprague here. Really appreciate you listening. You're about to get some podcast excellence. It's presented by Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
I gotta catch a glimpse of these warlocks. Let's make a move.
She's going around the corner.
Come on.
It's time for Dirt and Sprague.
True love is hard to find. Sometimes you think you have true love, and then you catch the early flight home from San Diego, and a couple of new people jump out of your bathroom blindfolded.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
We should date.
What?
Date. I said we should date sometime. You know, socially. Go out and kick it.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080.
You're pretty sick, Chubbs.
The Fan.
Hey, let's do this. Final hour. Dirt and Sprague here on Portland Sports Leader 1080 The Fan, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app. Thanks for being with us on a Monday. Hope everybody had a great Halloween. It's fun seeing I was happy for all the kids out there, man, out walking around, seeing all the trick-or-treaters, that we were back to a normal Halloween. Like, everybody seemed to be out doing their thing. It was great, man. Really fun to see.
So when are we getting the Mariah Carey rejoiner music? Is that today?
I want for Christmas is you. Come on. Let's do it. I'm putting the tree up. Let's go. Might go get the tree when I get back from Hawaii next week. I'm going to be playing Mele Kaliki Maka.
I won for each holiday getting its season.
Thanksgiving is one of those for you? You care about it getting its season?
Yeah. Let's just,
Thanksgiving's worthless.
Yeah, it's kind of worthless.
Thanksgiving sucks. Let's call it, I am the way to Thanksgiving that Swigard is the way to Halloween. It is useless. We just enjoy it because we get a day off and get to see family.
Very glad none of those little beggars showed up at my house last night.
Wow. Come on, Swigard. God, Grinch over there. Kids having fun.
I said, Swigard, if I throw a Halloween party, if I ever have a house that has enough space for like 30 to 40 people, I'm going to throw a party. And as much as you bag it, I'm going to invite you, and I know you're going to show up with a killer costume, and you're going to enjoy yourself.
He's going to show up as like Ron Burgundy.
Oh, he absolutely
drinking
is.
Scotch.
Yep.
Going to be the talk of the town.
Like that guy over there. You see that guy having a good time? He claims that he hates this holiday.
He claims that he hates Halloween.
Look at him over there.
Come on, man. Come on.
I'll tell you right now, thank God for COVID for this. I don't have to go to anybody's house for Thanksgiving if I don't want to. I have an easy out.
That is true. That is true.
That is true.
I don't like traveling. Just not a travel guy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm with you. If I had to go further outside of city limit, like more than 20 or 30 minutes away kind of thing, then I'm with you. For Thanksgiving, no. But thankfully, all of my family, the in-laws and my folks, they're all, 15 minutes away.
I will be on the road this year. Pilots are playing in a tournament in San Antonio Thanksgiving weekend.
Go do the Riverwalk, man. There you go.
All our games are like at 2 p.m., so I'm hoping there will be a chance to see what the Riverwalk has to offer. I haven't been to San Antonio
before. Won't miss anything. You've never been to San Antonio?
No, I haven't been to San Antonio.
It's a two-night town.
I've never spent significant time in Texas.
It's a two-night town. Yeah. It's a cool city to see, but I wouldn't want to be there for an extended period of time.
Go check out the Alamo. Did you do the Alamo?
Way overrated.
Way overrated?
I mean, not in what it meant, but just...
Yeah, people think it's this huge, giant, grand...
It's as tall as our ceiling, our building
it's just
right now.
One standing wall left.
It's a little bungalow, basically.
Is it an entire thing or is it a wall?
I think it's still a whole thing.
Still a whole thing.
It's still a whole thing. I think they've fixed up some of the stuff in the back.
All right.
But the building, you walk up to the building and it's 12 feet tall, and you're like, this is it?
This is the Alamo?
It was kind of underwhelming. We saw it and we looked at it and was like, well, let's go back to the Riverwalk.
It's not like the Grand Canyon where you sit there and have to breathe it in.
Yeah, that's very true. Is Pearl Harbor worth it, by the way?
Okay, I have a dirty confession to make.
Because I'm flying in and I'm thinking about checking it out. That's on my list of things do I want to do or not.
If you're you and the wife, I would say go. Me with kids, that was not going to happen.
Yeah,
I was not going to.
Difficult.
Yeah, the price and then their interest.
Yeah.
It was two things not meshing. It was like $25 per kid to hear them bitch and moan 5 minutes into that tour. I didn't want to do that. So we ended up actually not doing Pearl Harbor. And we also determined that Oahu is not our favorite island. So I don't know if I'm ever going to do Pearl Harbor. I kind of missed my shot.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you. You got to go North Shore, I think, if you're doing Oahu. I think it's the way to go.
Yeah, that is definitely the way to go.
You got to get out of Honolulu. But okay, let me know if Pearl Harbor's worth it. 503-250-1080.
Everybody's told me it is.
It is worth it.
Every single person that told me to go to Pearl Harbor was like, dude, I didn't think I'd care. Dude, I didn't know how to feel. Hey, man, I expected it to be good. It was even better. Like, I got a lot of mixed reactions from people.
Okay.
I just ended up kind of being the only one who wanted to go, and I didn't want to go alone.
Yeah, that makes it tough when you're trying to pull it off. One last thought on Oregon and Colorado. I did want to point out, I think a main positive for them the last couple of weeks has been the emergence of a number one wide receiver. And he had another big day again Saturday. Some incredible catches. One a jump ball. His touchdown was an easy catch. But Devin Williams has established himself as the number one target. He's a big body, and he provides something that they did not have early in the season as an offense. That's 3 straight games where he's close to 100 yards. He's scoring touchdowns, and he is easily the go-to guy for them. And reminder, against Washington this weekend, they're going to be without Johnny Johnson in the first half because he got called for targeting on a kickoff.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest rule in all of sports, so he's got to sit out the first half. So even more important, love to see Devin Williams get involved. And they got a number one dude now, man. A number one dude to throw the football, too.
Former Beaver.
A former Beaver legend.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Somebody says Pearl Harbor took 5 years off their life with kids.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're going to go back to Oahu at some point with a family,
might happen down the road.
Do this now.
You knock it off the list now.
Yeah, that's kind of what that's what I'd advise.
2 crazy stats for you, and then I want to get to some other notes out of college football, and then we'll get back into the Pac-12 a little bit and the Blazers here in the final hour. 2 crazy notes for you now. In their last 9 Power 5 games, okay, count them up, last 9 Power 5 games, you know what Florida's record is?
Oh, Florida.
So this is this year and going back to last year. Power 5 opponents. I'm not counting Patsies and Baylor schools for the blind. Power 5 opponents.
No, I don't.
2-7. You know what their Power 5 record is in their last 12 games for Clemson?
No.
7-5.
Wow.
Is Dan Mullen going to get fired at Florida?
I think it's pretty close. Are they still ranked?
Florida, no chance in hell.
Well,
if they are, I will riot and walk off the show right now.
They just lost.
They are not ranked.
Okay.
No.
Well, I know, but
if they would have been ranked, I would have.
Penn State should make you feel that way.
They do, but I don't think Florida's above 500 anymore.
Yeah. But Penn State has the same record as Oregon State. I mean, what are we doing here?
That is true. And Utah. Florida is now, well, they're 4-4.
He can't find a quarterback.
It is ugly.
I mean, that's a dude that if you were to say offensive minds, you know, where do they rank in college football? He's somebody that would probably crack the top 15 for most people. What he did at Mississippi State was impressive, and he's gotten them close, but not been able to get over that proverbial hump. And this year it's just, you thought maybe they were going to turn that corner.
They almost beat Alabama earlier this season.
They did almost beat Alabama. They played a great game against Alabama, and they haven't been the same since that game.
They really haven't. The other big note out of college football, this one came out of total left field for me. I don't know about you guys. Gary Patterson and TCU were parting ways. He was the second longest tenured head coach in all of college football. The only one that's longer tenured than that is Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. He was hired in 1999, and I believe Gary Patterson took over in 2000 or 2001.
I think it was 01.
01, and he has won every Coach of the Year honor. He took them to an undefeated season in 2010, remember, and won the Rose Bowl with Andy Dalton as his quarterback. Like, he has had an incredible run, 21 years. They built a damn statue of the guy out front of the stadium. They have a statue of him, and they just fired him this weekend. They are 3-5 on the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay to have higher standards. And also, it's not like 20 years isn't a lot of time. That's a pretty good tenure. Any coach would take 20 years given to them.
Yeah, they offered him the chance to finish out the year, and he flipped him the bird, was like, no, I'm not doing that.
That's okay, and he's probably upset, and I'm happy that he made his decision. But I also see it from the institution standpoint. We might be losing ground here in the Big 12, Bud. We've got Cincinnati coming in. We've got BYU coming in. You don't want to fall too far behind, and sometimes it gets stale. Guys are at places for a long time. It gets stale. I don't blame TCU for making that decision. I don't blame Gary Patterson for not wanting to finish out the year and saying, yeah, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to coach for games that really ultimately don't matter all that much.
Yeah, I don't know who's on Washington State's radar. I haven't read a lot of those articles about who they're looking for. I have seen some folks with the opinion that if Dickert keeps this up, their interim guy, just hand him the job.
No, stop. You gotta aim better. I think you got to go offensive minded, guy.
You got to go out. Yeah, sure. I've seen a lot of people though reference that job and saying, does Gary Patterson show up on the radar? I mean, you're talking about one of the better head coaches for the last 20 years in all of college football, and I know I'm with you. It's gotten stale there, so I can't blame them for wanting to move on. It's just wild considering where they were. I mean, they went, I think it was in 2017. They were like 11-2, and he's been roughly 500 ever since. So it's not quite the same. The standard is where it's at TCU because of Gary Patterson. He set the standard high and hasn't been able to live up to his own standard. So that's a tough situation to lose your job in. But his name now is going to be out there on the market, and Texas Tech is another program that's hiring. But that I'm wondering, is that the kind of name that Washington State wants to go after?
Somebody, I'd still look at guys like Graham Harrell. I would honestly give a look at Joe Moorhead. He's in your conference. He runs a pretty efficient offense. Like, I think you're going that way if you're going to go. I don't know if Gary Patterson's the guy. And by the way, does Gary Patterson want to move from Dallas to Pullman, Washington? I mean, of all the jobs available this season, and there could be a decent amount of them, like Gary Patterson, would he put his hat in the ring for Penn State?
Yeah, do they shoot bigger than that? I mean, this is the funny thing about Gary Patterson is he's such a good. The guy has a statue of himself in front of a stadium. How old is he? I want to Google that.
He's probably in his late 50s, I would guess, 58.
Let's see how old Gary Patterson is. He's 61.
61. Okay, so he's kind of up there in the age ladder, but he could be good enough to keep you and hold it over. The funny thing you just said, could you get a bigger name? Tell me this. If you're Florida, you're LSU, you're USC, you're Penn State, who are your big names? It feels like in college football there's names, but I don't know if you'd classify them as big. Like, are we sure Luke Fickell is going to leave Cincinnati and be good? It's not like he lit the world on fire at his 1 year at Ohio State.
We're not even sure if he's going to leave Cincinnati. He's a Cincinnati guy, and they're going to the Big 12.
And they're going to be in a Power 5 now. Why do you need to leave what you have established? Florida. Listener says, is Florida one of the top jobs, top 5 in college football? They say they think it is. Absolutely, I think it is. But I don't know who you would point to and say, that's the guy that you hire and the program is going to get elevated. Even Matt Campbell. I mean, Iowa State came in with real expectations, and just when they pull off a good win and beat Oklahoma State, they followed up and lose to West Virginia.
I think it's just,
it's like, I don't know who the guy in college football is. Like, who is the biggest name?
That's a good point, man.
Florida was fighting for Dan Mullen or Chip Kelly.
They were.
And both of those just...
It felt like until this year you made the right choice, and now this year they're just hitting the side of a mountain down there.
Yeah, but I don't think you made the wrong choice. It's not like Chip is making you UCLA fan. There's an article in the LA Times, and I think it's something I could probably get to tomorrow. There's an article saying, like, it's you can't dispute it anymore. You are too invested financially. He's been a bust as a pick for UCLA football. That may be rushed to a conclusion, but I thought that win did not sit well with a lot of people who thought, oh, Chip's getting paid this and that, and you're only 5-4.
This is supposed to be your year, and it has not been their year. So wild stuff going on in college football. Florida and Clemson absolutely hitting the skids right now. Gary Patterson, after 20 years, is out at TCU. He built that program up into national prominence they were in like 4 different conferences during his time at TCU. Isn't that wild? Bouncing around. They finally joined the Big 12, and he has been good, but the standard he set was too high for himself to keep up with, and they fired him. So wild stuff going on in the college football landscape. I want to change gears quickly. We'll get back into college football at the bottom of the hour. The World Series is going to a Game 6 back in Houston. How are we feeling? And I will say last night was a absolute must for baseball, and I'll explain that a little bit more. And then the Blazers lost in Charlotte over the weekend after a win on Friday night. And what do we make of their new uniforms? A mix a little baseball and basketball, and we'll get back to college football bottom of the hour after this on the Fan.
Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Our expert technicians can accurately diagnose all your car care needs. We'll fix it right and back it with our nationwide warranty at over 600 Amco centers. And if cash is tight, we have up to 12 months of no interest financing and easy payment plans, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-GO-AMCO for the location near you. That's AAMCO. Transmissions and a whole lot more. Listen up, Illinois. Mark your calendars. Open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace has begun. Like many people, you may know that picking the best coverage can be hard. GetCoveredIllinois.gov has free enrollment help, quality coverage, and financial help that'll guide you through to the right health plan for you. Remember, no matter where you are in Illinois, your health coverage starts here at GetCoveredIllinois.gov. That's GetCoveredIllinois.gov.
How long was Neil Armstrong actually on the moon? When did Europe start speaking English? Did Marco Polo really go to China? CuriosityStream is the streaming service for all things history, plus science, wildlife, and more. What's the real story behind the Mona Lisa? We've got that. What caused the collapse of Rome? We know. Where did we find mankind's earliest ancestor? Come find out. From Egypt to Einstein, CuriosityStream is the place for history and more. Visit CuriosityStream.com and start streaming now.
Well, there is stuff going on in the sports world outside of football, believe it or not.
Are you sure?
I am sure. I know. I am sure. You're still in a good spot.
I feel all alone.
You're not all alone.
When I'm watching baseball.
I'm there with you, buddy. I'm there with you.
No, that was on a screen the entire night last night.
I just don't think people care. This series is a dud, I think, for most people, unfortunately.
I mean, obviously for me, it lost the juice when my team unceremoniously exited stage left because they had no pitchers left.
But football's ability to not lose the juice. Like, your team gets bumped. If Seahawks fans lose in the wild card this year, they're going to watch the next playoff game as closely as they did the one with their team in it.
Yeah,
because football, both at the collegiate and the professional level, has figured out how to make game day an event. Now, it helps it's only once a week.
Yeah, you can't do that with baseball when you got a game every day.
Can't do it with basketball either. That's the same thing. It's a regional problem.
I will say part of it for me, ratings-wise, is I get it not doing it earlier in the postseason. I would like for baseball to shuffle the schedule around when the World Series begins. Like last night, think of what you're going up against. You're going up against Sunday Night Football with the Dallas Cowboys involved. Good luck with that. Oh, by the way, you got kids and you want to watch that game? Good luck with that. It's freaking Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, people are walking around taking their kids out. If your team's not in that World Series, I missed because I was trick-or-treating with the niece and nephew. I got back and watched innings 7 through 9 is when I got home.
Game was over.
And the game was over. I saw the Astros tack on 1 or 2 more runs, and I'm like, all right, but I was out. I didn't, I'm not watching that thing on my phone as I'm walking around. I saw the end of both games, but I don't even have kids, man. But at least I resonated with the parents out there that wanted to probably watch that game. But are you going to watch that over taking your kids trick-or-treating? Unless your team's involved, like, you probably found a way to make it work on your phone.
Well, but I put it in my pocket half the time.
Right.
And if I heard something, I'd bust it out. But that's the other thing about baseball is dirt. You could take your kids out yesterday at 5, 5:15, 5:30. You're out an hour. You've missed
you missed an inning
nothing.
and a half. Yeah.
You missed an inning and a
half.
half
From the second
baseball.
to the fourth inning. You're like, all right, hey, it's still the fourth inning. I know that we give the NBA flack for doing this, and they space their schedule out like crazy in the playoffs and in the finals. Some of it is for TV ratings, and they just want to build up that anticipation, giving off days and all that extra crap. If I'm baseball and I'm setting a World Series schedule, I'm trying to avoid like the plague playing on weekends, because college football and the NFL will always be king in this country. And then when you get an instance like a Halloween, like, dude, don't play. Like, I know it's crazy, and maybe you're giving one team an advantage of giving them an extra day to rest their starting pitchers, but like, if you play that game tonight and the Monday Night Football game's a dud, I guarantee you your number's higher. If you're playing games on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, you have a great shot at getting extra viewers. It's just a tough sell on the weekends when your team isn't involved. I can't blame people for not being glued to their TV.
See, that's the thing you just said there. I want to believe you, but I don't. I don't know if they played the World Series game tonight and that Monday Night Football game was Chiefs being dominant over a bad Giants team. I don't know how many people are flipping over, man. And that's the interesting thing to me is, like, they're almost all sports except football are almost, in America at least, playing a game they're never going to win. And maybe it's time to
never going to contend for first.
Yeah, maybe you just stop making all these crazy changes to your sport and overreacting to people bitching about, oh, it's a 4-hour game, or NBA fans, oh, it's unwatchable. Like, maybe we stop overreacting to people who really just don't care that much. They're just the most vocal.
Yeah.
And accept the loss that football will always beat you, and do what you do. I think the rating thing that's why it's a moot point for me, and has been. Nothing is catching football.
Nope.
We bitch about the NBA ratings or baseball ratings. Like, I think the evidence is in. It's concluded that it is very driven by markets.
It is, and teams that are involved. I will say, I think the executives in Major League Baseball were doing handstands last night. They were so excited. Because if that series would have ended and the Braves would have won,
it would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing for Braves fans, for sure. It would have been a dud of a World Series because it's over in 5. And it would have ended with a Sunday Night Football game on television. So now you get one more day of anticipation. You get the series going back to Houston where the crowd's going to be great. You know that. And you get a Game 6 on a Tuesday. You get a Game 7 potentially on a Wednesday when you're going to be the standalone act in the sports. Where they were popping bottles. That champagne that they had ready for the Braves locker room, they wheeled it up to the TV executives locker room to say, thank God that series didn't end last night.
Well, but Game 4 was awesome. I mean, Game 4
I think
was
a handful of these games have been great, man.
It was back-to-back home runs to take the lead late.
Even Game 3, dude, you had a pitcher with a no-hitter through 5 innings in a World Series game on Friday night.
And he got pulled.
And that needs to be talked about here.
Why?
So on that, look, I know that they won that game, and so in the aftermath of it, it's like, maybe we stop questioning managers. Dude, you had a starting pitcher with a no-hitter.
Yeah.
They couldn't touch him. He walked a couple of guys. They couldn't touch him. It wasn't like it was rocket out after rocket out after line drive after line drive. They could not hit him. And all of a sudden, they had to use their bullpen in innings 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then on Saturday, you knew you basically had a bullpen game going on, right? And they gave up those runs early. They had to pull their starter. It was just throwing the steering wheel out the car in the first inning, like, let's try and find a way to save this. And they only ended up scoring that one run. They had to use their bullpen the entire game. And then last night as well, you knew your starting pitching situation wasn't great. So when you're short on starting pitching, and you know that you're going to have to rely on your bullpen throughout the next couple of days, why would you put them into a situation where you don't need to put them into?
Well, I do think he pulled him too early. I would have been okay with him not allowing him to throw.
He had a lot of hits.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't.
What am I missing here?
Well, but I don't care about him finishing the no-hitter. Is that where you're going?
No,
you want
I
him
don't
to finish
care
till he
either.
gets
I'm
a
just
hit?
saying, why are you taking a pitcher out when the other team can't touch him and he's a starting pitcher?
Because he's one of the few starting pitchers you actually have healthy now.
Exactly.
If Charlie
so
Morton goes
ride
out,
that horse as long as he can, man.
But you're going to need him potentially in Game 7.
That's fine. He's going to be ready. Game 7 isn't until Wednesday. This is on Friday.
But I think, Snicker has had a lot of questionable pitching moves for me as a Braves fan. But that, yesterday, for example, why did he bring that Davidson kid out for the third inning?
Yeah.
Because
their bullpen was taxed.
I know, but you're relying on a guy. That guy didn't pitch. He hadn't pitched since June.
You're trying to milk everything you can out of him because you've used up your bullpen the last 2 days. And my point is, you didn't need to use your bullpen. If he gets into a jam Friday, by all means, get him out of there. Bring in one of your ace relievers, and let's try and hold on to this lead. But what if that guy could have legitimately given you? I'm not saying he's throwing a no hitter, although I would have loved to see him have a chance in a World Series game after 5 innings. But what if he was capable of giving you 8 shutout innings?
Well, I think he just took pitch count into account. I think he said, we need to conserve these pitches because we're going to need this at some point if this series is going to go back to Houston. And now it's going back to Houston.
It is. Game 6 tomorrow.
And they find themselves in a really interesting position. They are limping to the finish line. And Houston is so dangerous, especially at that ballpark, that now I'm nervous that there's a repeat of a Dodger situation looming. But look, I didn't like the decision when he'd made it. But I understand the thinking of, we're going to need this kid to be amazing again because we're so depleted in starting pitching, so let's pull him. And it ended up working out okay for him.
They won that game, there's no doubt, so you can't complain about it in the short term. We'll see where the series goes. Game 6 back in Houston is tomorrow night. Luis Garcia starting on short rest for the Astros. He was pretty good in his first start. And then Max Fried, who struggled, is a rematch.
His last 2 outings have not been good.
Last 2 outings have been rough. Although I will say he wasn't terrible in game 2. He just got kind of nickeled and dimed. It was a lot of infield, ground balls with eyes, infield single stuff. They made an error in that game that allowed another run to score. So we'll see where it goes. But Game 6 back in Houston. Did we have our eyes glued to the Blazers and Hornets last night?
I did.
I don't think anybody did because they couldn't find the channel.
What is going on here?
So there's 2 root channels up. It's now mine were in the 4K range. So 1251 is the normal root channel, and 1253 on Comcast is now the auxiliary channel.
Okay.
And so
we're an auxiliary team now. This is where we're getting dumped to.
How did we get dumped in Portland for a hockey team in Seattle?
Well, the game didn't even start till the Kraken game was a night game too, wasn't it?
It was a 6:00 start.
So the Blazer game was already almost over by the time
there would have been overlap.
Pregame. They had Kraken pregame to get to.
Yeah,
got to get that.
They had to get all the pregame in. So, Root is a Seattle-based network.
I mean, this is stupid.
This company wasn't really. I was told that they had just created that channel. Like that was a very last minute.
It popped up
Root Sports Plus
on my guide last week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is they just put this whole thing together. You want to play the local sports thing, man? You got to be ready. And they it's been an interesting rollout. That's for certain.
They gave up 72 points in the second half.
That's Terry Stotts' fault.
Okay. Dame still can't make a three. He was 2 of 14 from three.
What do you guys make of that narrative? When they play bad, it's Stott's tendencies and habits. When they play well, it's Chauncey's amazing.
It is such a weird situation around this team right now.
I feel like I'm not living in a reality.
Anthony Simons was great, though, again, off the bench. He had 19, 5-8 from three.
Yeah, but Dame's struggling still. That's the story of their team.
That is. The funny thing was Stotts used to get criticized for not playing young guys. Like we heard that last week when we had our segment on Simons of, he didn't play under Stotts. And we pointed out the minutes per game actually 2 years ago. He played like 20 minutes a game. He just wasn't productive.
Right.
And some of that was the guys he was with on the floor, no doubt. Anthony Simons was undoubtedly your best player last night. He had 19 points in 19 minutes, was a +2 off the bench. He played 19 minutes. And I get it's tough. Like, Powell's back. He's playing 33. Dame and CJ played 38. You're not going to sit those guys.
Where's your money? Where's your money?
I know where your money is.
You didn't pay to sit Norm Powell. You're not paying to sit CJ McCollum. Look, I know that can sound stupid right now. I still think he's earning more and more minutes as the season goes on.
I hope so.
I would have liked to have seen him there in the second half a little more.
He carried you again in the first half. I mean, he was hot.
Yeah, he was the only reason that you were kind of hanging with him. And then you ended up taking the lead in the second half.
You did.
And then you blew that, and you ended up kind of getting blown out there a little bit. But I would have liked to seen him a little more. I don't think he's playing enough minutes. He's been stellar, and I give him a lot of credit for working hard, and he's had to be patient in this whole thing. He had to play behind and / with Melo last year. So finally this year, nobody kind of getting in his way. He's getting the basketball. He knows what he wants to do with it.
Yeah, taking advantage of his looks. It hasn't been all from the three-point line for him this year, but last night was. He was 5'8", had 19 points, 6 of 9 total from the field. But the Blazers give up 72 second-half points. They lost 125-113.
I'd like to nitpick. I can't believe you have the audacity to talk about the Blazers before Christmas. How are we not talking about Baker Mayfield losing to the Steelers and being a choke artist?
Somebody texting, you say that about baseball, but last night I was taking my kids around trick-or-treating. Every other house seemed to have the World Series on. That's true. Like, if you're somebody that was hanging around your house and doing the handout candy thing, which a lot of people did last night, like if you don't have young kids, then you had a TV around. I know it was tough. Like, if you're walking around, it's hard to get eyeballs on Halloween, man.
Let's see if I can find...
If the ratings are out?
Yeah, I want to know what Sunday Night Football did because...
It dominated the World Series, I'll tell you that.
Matt Miller, the draft scout guy, he did a poll question on this. What are you watching, World Series or Sunday Night Football? And I clicked World Series just to vote to see the results. It was 70-30 with like 10,000 votes football.
It was funny. They know, too, on baseball broadcasts when the Sunday Night Football broadcast ends because I happened to flip over right at the end of the football game because I watched that last drive or whatever. And the baseball game was a 4-run game at that point. And the second they did like a game recap on the Fox broadcast.
Buck knows.
It's like, hey, if you've been missing it, here's what's happened tonight. Everybody's flipping over. It's already 9-5. I know the first two games of the World Series were not highly rated, so I wouldn't be surprised if last night wasn't either. But
it's historically bad.
Historically bad, yes, historically bad. But you get a Game 6 and a Game 7. I'm rooting for your team, buddy. I'm going to be gone to either see your heartbreak or your enjoyment and celebration, so...
Well,
may peace be with you.
Just, wish us the best, and hopefully we take the bats with us to Houston and get it going a little bit.
Hopefully Houston's offense didn't wake up because they've been very cold so far in this series.
We said that after Game 2, though, too. It's like,
here
we go.
We did. That is a very true point. And they didn't do squat in Game 3 and Game 4 as an offense, and then last night exploded late. So there you go. All right, let's get back into college football. I got a couple of poll questions out there on the Ducks and the Beavers. I want to ask those and answer them coming up next. Also, how about the Cougs with a statement win? Where do they fit into this Pac-12 picture? We'll get to that coming up next.
In 1987, a former prosecutor named Margaret Kuhn took her dog for a walk in one of Louisiana's safest and most affluent parishes. The next morning, she was found dead on the side of the road. 34 years later, the crime remains unsolved.
No one is safe.
Listen to Gone South, Season 1, Who Killed Margaret Kuhn? A documentary podcast from C13 Originals. Available on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hey, nice party.
Yeah? What's new with you?
Did you know blue whales in Hawaii can be heard off the coast of California?
What?
And time travel to the future may actually be possible.
How is that?
I discovered it on CuriosityStream.
I'm listening.
You can stream thousands of shows on nature, history, science, and so much more.
Cool.
And their annual plans are 25% off, just $1.25 a month.
Now I want to go back in time. Sign up for that deal.
Sign up now at CuriosityStream.com.
CuriosityStream.com.
That's it, CuriosityStream.com.
Listen up, Illinois. Mark your calendars. Open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace has begun. Like many people, you may know that picking the best coverage can be hard. GetCoveredIllinois.gov has free enrollment help, quality coverage, and financial help that'll guide you through to the right health plan for you. Remember, no matter where you are in Illinois, your health coverage starts here at GetCoveredIllinois.gov. That's GetCoveredIllinois.gov.
Well, we're just in here wondering, what does Pete Davidson have that all of us don't have?
What is it you think that's alluring
I don't know,
for really
man.
incredibly hot ladies with Pete Davidson? Because while I admit,
I don't get it.
I think he's... Have you seen his stand-up? You ever watch Pete Davidson
I have not
stand-up?
watched much of his stand-up. I also have not seen... I always wanted to see his King of Staten Island, but I never saw it. I heard it
saw
was
that
good.
movie.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's like one of those sappy comic movies.
Okay. All right.
Stand-up is like, okay. I've never like watched his stand-up and been wowed to the level of some of the better stand-up comedians in the industry. I do wonder what the allure. Like, the ladies love them some Pete Davidson.
That guy bagged Ariana Grande, and now there's rumors he's out there with Kim Kardashian.
Well, go look up who he dated after Ariana Grande. I mean,
who did he date after Ariana Grande?
You know, a big little Instagram situation.
Pays to be Pete Davidson, man. He's hawking water and bagging hotties, so good for him.
Did they find him hot, though? Is that what it is with Pete Davidson?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't quite see it, but hey. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
He's super young, too.
He is super young.
And I remember he had to address that he wasn't mixed.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of people think he's like quarter or half black.
Interesting.
So he had to come out and say, no, I'm not. I'm not.
Just a normal white guy.
Normal white guy.
There you go. We've got a couple of poll questions up. I'm going to throw these at you guys. We already kind of talked about the Oregon one, but I did find it funny, the split in the votes. So we asked, what stood out more to you in their win? And a lot of Duck fans responded like, really? How is this a thing? It was 45-14 at the end of the third quarter. I don't know if this is a trolling answer or a truly concerned answer, but how about this split? 50.4% said the Ducks scoring 52. 49.6% said Colorado scoring 29. So that's about...
But if I told you the Stars are polled at 14 by Colorado, would you really say that's a concern?
It was 45-14 at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
So I that's where I saw that take a lot on Twitter of like, God, they gave up 29 points. I just kind of rolled my eyes at it. Said they won the game by 23 points.
Is it the spread? Is it the spread thing? Is it the fact that Ohio State wins a game and they win it 56-14? Is that what it is? That these other teams that you're kind of competing with nationally are winning some of these kind of games by bigger margins?
This is the nature of college football. This is how we have to react to games. You can't be happy about a 23-point win. It's evidently not enough in the national discourse and in the style point conversation. I hate that's what we've become, and that's the game that we have to play. But it's the reality. And I think there's a lot of fans that play by that game. Did you win it by 40 points? If not, then it's a disappointment. Let's nitpick because Ohio State beat Akron 59-7, and that's why they're ranked ahead of you.
Like, I was contemplating coming in today, like, how much Ducks are we really going to talk about? Like, that game was a blowout. They dominated. Like, I thought the story of the weekend was Oregon State no showing at Cal.
No doubt about it. It was for me as well, and that's another poll question. And I'm curious where you guys are at on this, obviously, as Beavs. And that sixth win has been elusive for Jonathan Smith. They go on the road to Cal this weekend. They can't get it. And now you get Colorado on the road, which you would kind of assume that should be, if you're a 10.5-point favorite in that game. Colorado's not very good. You should be able to win that game. And you get to 6-3, and then you close with that stretch at home against Stanford, home against Arizona State, and then on the road for the Civil War in the final week of the season. Now at 5-3, what is their final record going to be? With 4 games to go. 9-3, 8-4, 7-5, or 6-6. They win this weekend and then lose the final 3.
I'll say 7-5.
Okay.
I thought
they go 2-2 the rest of the way.
If you would have asked me immediately following their Saturday performance, I would have told you 6-6.
You think they'd lose all last 3, huh? Because they're not losing to Colorado.
It's not surprising if they go 6-6 to me.
They're not losing to Colorado. I'm not going to play that game. They're going to come out hungry. They're trying to get to a bowl game. They're going to punch that ticket this weekend. They'll run the ball all over Colorado. Oregon ran it for 300 on them.
Right. I think they'll easily beat Colorado, but yeah, Arizona State, very capable of beating them.
Sure.
Stanford has owned that rivalry, or owned that matchup, I should say, the last few years. And you're playing at Autzen. The last win for Oregon State at Autzen was 2007, James Rogers fly sweep.
2007, James Rogers
2021.
fly sweep.
That's quite a long time there, Andrew.
The Fighting Sports Bras beat Justin Roper. I was a student at Oregon in 2007. I remember that game vividly.
They've had a couple opportunities. They've come close. They had a year that surprised Oregon. They had a big comeback. Like they've had some years where they've come close. They haven't been able to quite do it. Yeah. So, maybe this is the year where they can. But I look at those 3 games, and if you tell me they lose all 3. I'm not sitting here batting an eye, freaking out as if I didn't see any of that coming. Stanford, I think they're going to win. That's the win I would pick in the last 3.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they finish 6-6.
I answered 7-5 as well, and I'll say I know there's going to be moments and maybe some that will claim that as a disappointing end to your season if it ends up being the case. And I get that because you had a shot. You were 5-2 coming into this weekend, right? I get it. You were in the mix for the North, and they could win out. Hell, for all we know, the Pac-12 has been crazy this year. As we just talked about earlier in the show, it's dumb. Nobody knows what the hell is going to happen week in and week out. I sure as hell didn't think Washington State would go on the road to Tempe and dominate ASU this weekend. But even if you end up finishing 7-5, it's okay to have that slight disappointment of, man, what could have been, but also remind yourself the preseason expectations. You get to 7-5 after losing your opener to Purdue. If I would have told you that after the opening weekend loss, you'd take that in a heartbeat. That's still a great season, and they still have a chance of being better than that. But 7-5 was the most answered question there. 61% of people said 7-5. So it makes sense. I think you get Colorado, you get Stanford, uphill battle against ASU and Oregon. But as we pointed out, Oregon has been in close ball games basically all year, and ASU just got smoked by Washington State, who controls their own destiny in the Pac-12
Washington
North.
State, the best team in the conference?
I don't know what the hell's going on in the conference right now. I'll tell you what, they scare me. Oregon's got them coming up, I think, after Washington. They got the Huskies this week on the road.
And this one means a lot to Mario.
Oh, this is big. Washington game is a big deal for him. He's undefeated against the Huskies, and I think they're going to bring it this week, and you're going to get a good performance. But then is there that lull the next week before you go back to Utah at home? That one's scary for me. Kind of looming large. They're playing good football, so... there you go. All right, let's close it up. Monday Night Football tonight. Where's the excitement level? I got to make my Sprague in the line picks because I'm out the rest of the week. And then the Blazers are in action again tonight. So get you all set for a night in sports next on The Fan.
Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Our expert technicians can accurately diagnose all your car care needs. We'll fix it right and back it with our nationwide warranty at over 600 Amco centers. And if cash is tight, we have up to 12 months of no interest financing and easy payment plans, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-GO-AMCO for the location near you. That's AAMCO. Transmissions and a whole lot more.
Man, there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Definitely. I mean, there's 3 million shows, 50 million episodes, and more every day.
I mean, who has the time to figure out which ones are the best podcasts?
We do. That's who. What's up, guys? I am Alicia Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
And we are your hosts of Pod Sauce, a podcast discovery show.
Look at us as your podcast concierge.
We do all the work for you. We listen to the shows, review them,
pick the best episodes, and interview the hosts.
Pod Sauce. Let us help you find your next binge. Tell them where to go, Dax.
Go to podsauce.com.
Listen up, Illinois. Mark your calendars. Open enrollment for the ACA Health Insurance Marketplace has begun. Like many people, you may know that picking the best coverage can be hard. GetCoveredIllinois.gov has free enrollment help, quality coverage, and financial help that'll guide you through to the right health plan for you. Remember, no matter where you are in Illinois, your health coverage starts here at GetCoveredIllinois.gov. That's GetCoveredIllinois.gov.
All right, well, we got a nice little sports night tonight. Maybe, potentially. We'll see.
Tell me.
I hope not, because I gambled on the Chiefs, and I need them to cover a 9.5-point spread. That line
sucks.
Moved up to 10.5 now.
Yeah, Barkley's out. Some of the receivers are still out for the Giants.
It's Daniel Jones having to run the football is what their game plan is going to be.
Come on, Chiefs. Come on. You can win this game by 10. You can do this. I believe in you. I can't have an 0-3 Sprague in the line weekend.
I mean, you can. It is possible.
I can. It could happen.
It happens.
It does happen.
I had it 3 weeks ago.
It could happen.
Awful.
Trying to stay above water here. So there's your Monday night game. The Blazers are in Philly. Is Ben Simmons playing yet?
No.
He's still taking care of his mentals?
Yes.
Okay. Philly's favored by 5 in that game.
I like Portland in this one.
Ooh, money liner to cover the spread.
I'll take him on the money line. I think it's a bad matchup.
Ooh, okay.
Joel Embiid is dangerous. You don't really have a response there.
That he is, Bob.
But you kind of look at the way they're set up. I I like, especially with Simmons out, I like Portland in this one.
The line's not showing up on the scoreboard app for some reason.
It was 5 last I checked.
Yeah, I was curious what the number was on the money line, if you like
the
them.
money line.
Yeah.
Hang on.
You got Philly today, and the next one's Cleveland,
It just
right?
went off the board.
Ooh, who are we waiting on? Is Ben Simmons in the lineup?
I don't know.
No, probably not.
Yeah, their next one, so you play on the road at Philly today. You're on this little East Coast swing because they played in Charlotte last night. Then you go to Cleveland on Wednesday. And then
Which
you're
is
back
going
on
to be
Friday.
a tough game.
Then you're at home against, I see that they got that USC kid, right? Isn't he a Cleveland Cavalier? Or am I getting my teams
Evan
wrong?
Mobley?
Evan Mobley?
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay, he's playing well, I've heard.
He's playing amazingly. He might be the rookie of the year already.
Look at me. I'm hip with the NBA scene. And they take on the Pacers on Friday and the Lakers this coming weekend back at home. Russell Westbrook had maybe the worst shot in the NBA, in the history of the NBA last night. He threw a ball off like the top of the backboard. He was trying to bank it in. The Rockets commentator's reaction to it was priceless as well. I go, whoa. The hell was that, man?
When do you think the Blazers are going to be on the radar for most sports fans here?
I think they're on the radar for sports fans here.
You do?
I do. I think I don't think the NBA is. I think the Blazers are.
Blazers are because new coach and all that stuff. I've made an effort to try and tune in. And
this is why Joel Embiid is out. Yeah, give me the Blazer money line all day. Philly ain't winning that game.
That must have just been announced or made official.
It literally just got released.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is out tonight for rest.
They're just wow.
Yeah, have you seen their team?
Okay.
Without Ben Simmons, man, that's a stretch. It's Joel Embiid.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of
Shake Milton,
playmakers.
Korkmaz, Tobias Harris.
You just drop a Shake Milton.
Ben Simmons is a huge part of what they do. He's not playing.
Although, dare I say, remember this game was in reverse last year. Remember, this was the game they went on the road with nobody playing. And they won. CJ Ellaby went off.
Ellaby
and
game.
They
He had
won.
16 points.
They were like a 15-point underdog or whatever crazy line it was. And we joke like, God, they stand no chance. Nobody's in the lineup, and they found a way to win the game. So
I do remember that.
Maybe Philly returns the favor. That's why the line is off the board. No Joel Embiid. Let me throw my Sprague and line picks at you real quick.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get these in. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm getting Monday lines. I sent you guys the email, the pick sheet, so you can have you can track that and see where all the records are. You can update it.
There's one stipulation here.
Okay, what's your stipulation?
If these spreads go past a point from where they open and you have them,
oh, come on.
You're adjusting to those lines.
Not my fault I'm locking in bets on Monday.
Well, can we lock in bets on Monday? The Chargers
Sure.
are only 2.5-point favorites at Philadelphia. I'll take the Chargers all day on that.
That is one of my picks. I'm taking the Chargers on the road at Philly. Need a good weekend here, boys. Need a good weekend. They're 2.5-point favorites. I think they can win that game by a field goal, even though I thought the Lions were going to cover against Philly this weekend. Yeah, I gambled on that game. I thought the Lions would cover against Philly.
Jared Goff is done.
Dude, he sucks. How do you get blown out by the Eagles? How do you almost beat the Rams and then get blown out by the Eagles? Explain that to me. I hate the NFL.
Who's their backup in Detroit?
We looked this up last week, I think.
Man Campbell needs to go to that guy because it's getting worse and worse.
Isn't it blah like David Blah? Isn't that their backup?
David Blah.
Blah. I think that's who it is.
Do you think Man Campbell calls him out to start that way? Hey, David Blah.
Blah. Get your ass in there.
And they were just, me and the boss were texting. The Niners were winning and the Seahawks were about to play.
Yeah, it's David Blah or Tim Boyle or Steven Montez. I don't know which one's the backup.
Colorado Buff, shout out. And we were talking about how like the Seahawks and Niners have been disappointing. And she goes, well, at least we're not Lions fans.
That is true.
And I thought, I can't believe there still are Lions fans.
They're still out there, baby. They could go winless this year. Man Campbell, I love him. He's a great press conference, but it's funny, all the things we said about him have come true, and we're like blaming it on Jared Goff.
I know, we blame
Sean
everything
McVay
else.
took Jared Goff for the playoffs last year.
Took him to a Super Bowl.
Took him to a Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Like they haven't won a game. They've been blown out a few times, but because he cries in a post game, we're sitting here going, I love Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's amazing. I've not seen anything to suggest he's a good coach.
I'm also taking the Falcons again this weekend because if you lose a bet on a team one week, why not gamble on them again the next weekend? They're a 5-point underdog at New Orleans. I don't know what New Orleans quarterback situation is. I'm going to take them to cover. And then I'm also jumping on the Derrick Henry injury news, and I'm taking the Rams -7 on Sunday Night Football against Tennessee. Okay? I included it in the email.
Ryan Tannehill's dangerous with A.J. Brown, baby.
He is. That team is one player, though.
Okay.
And one player only. I think the Rams are ready for a big blowout win against a good team. You know what I mean?
Did you see the Houston Texans backdoor people at 16.5 yesterday with 22 unanswered points?
Golly. They got to go in late. You were worried there for a moment, too.
Hell
they were
yeah,
going to get inside 14.
I was like, wait, there's still 2+ minutes. They get onside kick again. We're screwed.
What is happening? All right, well, I'm going to Hawaii, flying out tomorrow morning.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Have a great time, man. Unplug from the world. Nobody needs to hear your Twitter thoughts on a football game that largely don't care about.
Just don't get a lobster sunburn on day one.
Yes, that is goal. Yeah.
Only advice I'll give you.
Rookie move. Can't do that. Got to wear that sunscreen on day one. Yeah, the only sports thing I'm going to soak in, I got to watch the Oregon-Washington game. I already let the wife know. Saturday, we're going to find our way to a poolside bar or something. Watch that game.
Poolside bar, I like it.
Bring it on, puppies. Happy UW Hate Week, everybody. And I'm going to Hawaii. These guys will keep me going.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
We'll be back either next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, I see. He's already doing them one or other.
Place your bets accordingly. That will do it for us. If you missed any of the show, go check the podcast, 1080thefan.com. We'll tweet it out after and Sprague and at 1080thefan. Josh Pate was great, as he always is, talking college football. I will talk to you next week. These guys will talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Colin is next. You're listening to 1080 The Fan.
Hi, I'm John Favreau, host of Crooked Media's new weekly series, Offline with John Favreau. If you feel like the internet is breaking our brains, but you still can't put the phone down, this show might help. Each week, I'll be talking to people like Monica Lewinsky, Megan Rapinoe, Peter Hamby, and DeRay McKesson about all the ways our extremely online existence is shaping politics, media, entertainment, sports, business, and more. New episodes of Offline with John Favreau drop every Sunday on the Pod Save America feed. Listen on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey Chicago, this is Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears. I'm proud to partner with Dunkin' because they know every cup counts. On Monday, November 15th from 5 a.m. to noon, $1 from every large or extra large hot coffee soda at every Chicagoland Dunkin' location will benefit Ann and Robert H. Leary Children's Hospital of Chicago. Every cup counts at Dunkin', so let's all bring our A-game for the kids at Leary Children's. Visit any Chicagoland Dunkin' on November 15th and let's raise a cup, raise some funds, and raise some spirits. Chicago runs on Dunkin'.
Amco Transmissions and Total Car Care has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Our expert technicians can accurately diagnose all your car care needs. We'll fix it right and back it with our nationwide warranty at over 600 Amco centers. And if cash is tight, we have up to 12 months of no-interest financing and easy payment plans, even if your credit is less than perfect. Call 1-800-GO-AMCO for the location near you. That's AAMCO. Transmissions and a whole lot more.